Hey everyone, this is Justin with Pump Pal, and if you're a tall guy wondering why you can't lift as much as some of the shorter guys, or if you're a short guy wondering why you can't lift as much as the tall guy, or you're just wondering about mechanical advantages in bodybuilding or lifting weights, this is the video for you. I'm going to try to cover what I can cover from my experience, and we'll talk about that in this video. If you like this kind of content, you're watching it on Facebook, please follow my page. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and we will dive in. Let's start by saying that each body type has its advantages and disadvantages. So every person's going to be different. You have to accept that, and don't use it as an excuse of why you can't make gains or get better, right? So we're going to start with the disadvantages for the tall guys, right? It depends where you started, right? The early stage of lifting, you're going to be at a disadvantage, especially if you didn't have a solid base. If you weren't a big eater or anything like that, didn't have a laborious job, just sat around playing video games, you're going to be at a disadvantage. The taller you are, the more leverage it's going to be against your limbs, right? So if you're going to do a curl, right? If you're gonna bring the curl up, it's just like a wrench. If you have a bigger wrench, it's easier to get the bolt off, right? If you can't get the bolt off, get a pipe on there, and then you get more leverage and you do it, right? Well, that mechanical advantage is working against you, right? In certain exercises, especially like bicep curls. If you're doing it, the weight's on the other side of that leverage thing. If you have long limbs, um, it's going to be harder to lift it, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're not working just as good. It's just you're going to have a harder time lifting the weight, right? As opposed to a shorter person who has shorter limbs, mechanical advantage, right? The other issue, if you're taller, is that let's say like there's a 5'8" guy and there's a 6'2" guy that are lifting the same weight, right? 225 in the bar. Well, chances are, I shouldn't even say chances are, the 6'2" guy is going to have longer arms than the 5'8" guy, right? So every time you do a rep, you bring it up, if you're fully extending, you're going to be moving that weight a few inches further, which doesn't seem like much at first, but when you do that over 3 sets, 12 times, you're talking 6, 7 feet further than the other guy. So you're moving the weight further than him. Disadvantage, especially if you're just going by pure, oh my god, who can lift more weight? Then you're going to be at a disadvantage there, right? Once again, we're going to go back to the mechanical part of it, the limbs themselves. It's going to go against you. You're going to have a hard time putting on mass, especially if you're a super skinny guy from the start, because let's think of it this way. You have a stick this big, take 5 pounds of meat, wrap it around there. Now spread that out from a limb or a piece of bone that's this long, the same 5 pounds. Which one's going to look bigger? It's going to be the short guy. It's going to smush it in. It's going to pump him out, right? So if he puts on 5 pounds of muscle and you put on 5 pounds of muscle, it might not be as noticeable as him putting on 5 pounds of muscle. Bodybuilding really is a short guy's sport. Sports in general, I think that's where people get confusions with that kind of stuff. Short people in general have a disadvantage in most sports. In in football, if you're 6'2", you probably can run faster than the short guy. Even if the short guy jumps 8 inches in the air and you jump 8 inches, it doesn't matter because you're taller, right? And you're still 6 inches above him. So you're gonna be able to catch a ball. Basketball, you have advantage. You can jump up and grab the hoop either. Tennis, even you probably have an advantage. Shit, even in pool, you have an advantage because you don't have to use the stick to shoot the shots. So in general sports, tall people have a big advantage, but they really don't have an advantage in like bodybuilding, just straight bodybuilding. The shorter guy does have the advantage in it, but it's not all doom and gloom for the tall guys. If you're a tall guy, some of your advantages is, although you're weaker at first, once you're filled in, you are generally stronger. Like now you have that big space to fill with muscle, right? As opposed to the shorter guy, they're going to have less space they can fill, and they're going to reach their potential and start to taper off. But they're going to get there faster, right? So don't use it as a complete disadvantage. And plus, generally, if you look at the competitions here, let me see if I can't get. That's one of the reasons why Arnold would win. I mean, look at Arnold here. Jay Cutler was he's a pretty short guy. He still won. But Arnold was like 6'1". I mean, he made him look small. If you look at these pictures, I don't know if you can see the picture. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. He generally made people look small. Chris Bumstead was also a tall guy. He was 6'2". So if you do stay dedicated and you do keep working out and you fill it in, it's going to look more impressive than the shorter guys. But the shorter guy is just going to see it faster, right? So that is your advantage also, right? So let's move into the short guy disadvantages, right? There's very little disadvantages just in bodybuilding for the short guy. Very little. I would say the biggest disadvantage you have as a shorter lifter is that you're going to reach your max potential faster, and then the taller guy eventually is going to catch up, and he will surpass you. That's probably your only disadvantage. Your advantages is you have the shorter limbs, so you can lift bigger weights. And like I said, if you're going for pure muscle size, I mean, I've seen some pretty big dudes that don't lift that much weight, so it doesn't really matter that much. But you can put some weight on there and tear your muscles up a lot faster than the bigger guy. If you're starting out, especially skinny, the shorter guy, you will see the muscle on you way faster than the taller guy will. If he's got 6 more inches to fill, he's got to put on like 10, 20, 30 more pounds than you. You're going to see it faster. And you're generally going to get stronger faster. You're probably going to lift more faster. It goes back to the same concept. Your range of motion isn't as much, and you can lift more weight. What is it? Most strongmen are like average strongman height, whereas like the strength is a factor. Yeah, about 6'2" to 6'6". So the difference there, the strongman, which strongman competition is just pure strength. Like they're just going to lift heavy ass weights. The average height is, about 6'2", as opposed to the average height in bodybuilding is 5'8" to 6'2". And the shorter guys usually are in there. And that's not coincidence. It's because, the taller guy is going to end up stronger eventually. And that's generally why there's like, the taller guys are, the strongmen tend to be thicker guys that have a belly and stuff like that. It's because they're taller and they just ate a bunch of food to fill in to get as strong as possible, as fast as possible. And the more food you eat, the stronger you're going to be. So they fill it in real fast and they get strong real fast. Either way, with these advantages and disadvantages, you shouldn't use it as an excuse not to perform in the gym. At the end of the day, you have your advantages, you have your disadvantages. Being sad or mad about it is not going to change it. I could even argue that some people start out with, I know I started out with like massive shoulders. Like I was like 22-inch shoulders out of puberty, right? So I have 25.5-inch shoulders now. Advantage there, right? Everyone has their advantages or disadvantages for that kind of stuff. And I believe like Arnold was one of those people too. He had massive shoulders, right? He started off with big shoulders. The average shoulders are going to be, let me see, average male shoulders, 16.2 to 18.25. And I think Ronnie Coleman had 26-inch shoulders or something like that. He'd never started at 16-inch shoulders, man. Like, he didn't start there. So there's advantages and disadvantages of that. Like, my advantage, too, I was a taller guy, but I was always a big eater. So I was kind of be stocky. Like, I started out pretty strong to begin with, right? So because I always ate. The tall guy I'm 6 foot myself. The tall guy that didn't eat, he's going to have some serious problems. Serious problems. But yeah, that's the point I wanted to get across. Shouldn't use your excuse. Don't focus on your disadvantages because it's not going to matter anyways. And just focus on your advantages. Shorter guys, you're going to see results faster. You're going to get stronger faster in this sport. If you're a taller guy, it's going to take longer. But once you get there, it's going to look more impressive. And, you're going to be stronger than the other guy. That's about what I wanted to cover. If you can please say no excuses in the comments if you enjoyed this content. Otherwise, I am going to be out. You all have a good day.